Everybody, welcome back to another Marvel Future Revolution video. In this one, I'm putting on a silver platter a few super easy fixes that Netmarble could do immediately, I think with our very reduced staff, to help this game out and maybe keep and retain current and new players. And also, I'm gonna throw in some ways for them to make money. So, what do you say? A lot of these videos, like I mentioned, I'm trying to talk to Joe Lee, trying to talk to Netmarble. Please pay attention. You got a great foundation. No reason to throw it away. So let's get to it.
넷마블은 게임에서 일부 플레이어를 즉시 유지할 수 있도록 쉽고 빠른 수정 방법을 소개합니다. 넷마블, 마블 퓨처 레볼루션에서 바로 돈을 쉽게 벌 수 있는 방법도 몇 가지 있어요.
So B-roll a little bit, might do some clicking around on different things in the game here. I've done some videos like this previously, but I'm on a current, hey Netmarble, hey Joe Lee, I hope that you're out there listening because we've got a way to potentially keep this game around. If you're interested, I don't know if you are or not, but it's there. So if you want, we could do it. If not, I'm gonna be mad at you, frankly. So let's get to it. All right, first thing. Now these are the easy fixes, right? Now, and again, I said there's gonna be ways to make some money too, which I also think are gonna be easy. Easy fixes that I believe could be done even with low staff. First one. Turn the dial up. This one goes to 11, okay? So what I mean by that is you got raids, you got alliance raids, you got battle challenges. You literally could make endless levels. Just make a multiplier and have it go up 5% each time and have it go to 6 billion trillion gajillion. And if, you know, at some point people are like, I only got to level 150. Okay, cool story. You don't need to make the rewards like dramatic. You could do gold or something, or, you know, convergium. So it gives a little incentive because it's really just for endgame players anyway, but not a lot. They're going to do it just because it's something to do and they want to see how far they get. Additionally, if you don't want to do rewards, what you could do, because you're too worried about that, you know, maybe imbalancing, is do an icon above their head for whoever gets the furthest in each one of those. A little ring or something, right? And I'll get to more on that in a second. But if I get to level 5 billion trillion, then that's the furthest that anyone got. Then give me the status of a little green circle above my head. I'm sure that's not super hard to code. We've already got icons above people's heads. You change the image. You do a couple of ones and zeros to make sure that the computer and data understands exactly what's going to be issued to that person. If number one, this thing, then get green circle that's this big around their head. Yay, go team. That person's excited. They're fighting and, you know, trying to get as far as they can each week. Also, in a similar regard, give icons over people's heads for, and we talked about this, Anep, I thought brought this up. I think it was Anep. And for the weekly winners of Dimension Duel, Omega War, and Squad Battle. Now, I know those are all PvP related, but it's still something that people could do. I mean, you could, you know, I already mentioned, you know, alliance raids and battle challenge. So that's your PvE. Well, this is the PvP part of that. If people get it, give them a little ring. Now, one of the things that you've got to think about is that this, you could have one person who gets number one in all of these. So you need to make it so that, say this is number one in alliance raid. This is number one in raid. This is number one in battle challenge. Just still in this, oops. All right, so I can shrink down here. So ready? So again, this is number one in battle challenge. This is number one in raids. This is number one in alliance raids. This is number one in Dimension Duel. This is number one in Omega War. This is number one in Squad Battle. So that way, if somebody wins all of those, they get all the rings. And you can have them be slightly different colors if you want, that correspond in games so people know green is Alliance Raid and orange is Dimension Duel and gray is Omega War, whatever. So that way, if you're only got the third ring, somebody knows, oh, that's the Omega War person. But again, super easy. You've already got all the data in the game for everything. You literally have to go if this, then this. It is anyway, so that is something you could quickly do that gets people who are working on the endgame stuff to care a little bit. Not a lot, but maybe a little bit, all right? And it's something you could do quickly. All right, now how to retain new players. I mentioned this in another video. A big reason that new players don't stick around is because it's too hard to build up. They can't get to the end game fast enough where everybody else is at, and nobody's in the early game, which is a kind of a different story for some of the items in game. But I said this last time, give 4 to 6 star regional full set selectors. So that means 4 boxes every time you finish each zone. So I finish New Stark City, I get 4 regional selectors. Okay, I finish, what's the next one? Hydra, I think. I get 4 regional selectors. I finish Midgard. I get 4 regional selectors. Every time I finish one of these areas, every single time. So New Stark City, Hydra, Xander, Midgard, Sakaar, Dark Domain. I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I get 6 sets of regional selectors. So that gives me what? 6 nanos? 5 1, 2, 3, 4. It only gives me 5 nanos. 5. That's literally nothing in the game. So it's like, okay. So, and not just that, if I'm not getting 6 stars on it, it's not even a nano. So I would highly recommend making those 6 stars. Definitely do that on your first tune. I would also say that you might want to consider that each time you finish a zone with your other, and I say this, I think I'm going to say this with, I'm debating whether it's purple, green, and yellow quests. Maybe on your first tune, it's just the purples. And then on your second ones, it's second, third, fourth, fifth, it's got to be all 3. It's got to be purple, green, and yellow. But when you do it with your other characters, do the same thing or similar, or give them fodder, like, 4 or 5 star pieces of fodder that they can use to help base some of them. Each time you do that, on top of everything else we already get. I'm just saying, I finished all these quests. Here is a something in the mail that gives you that. Okay, and you could literally retroactively give that to every single person who's already playing the game so that they don't get upset. But it is not going to do anything dramatically, but it helps new players feel like, oh, okay, I can start doing stuff with this. I can build up some characters a bit. I've got 6-star pieces on, 6 different characters or 7 different purges. Or if they want, they can focus on one character and say, I did the selectors and I picked all Hydra for Wolverine. And I put all that Hydra on Wolverine and I gave him 6 nano stars, which again, won't do anything, but it makes them feel closer to endgame. So I think that's great. You do that, simple, right? So, and with the additional tunes, at first I was thinking maybe less than 5-star. I don't know, given that you can't even, unless you're giving them 6 stars on the first set, you're only getting like 5 nanos. I think if you give them less than that, it's not going to be good on the other characters. So consider doing something like that to help build up those newer players, just get their power. Additionally, in PvP, I've said this as well, bots need to be in PvP. There is a huge gap between endgame players now and new players. So those new players are going into a Mega War, they're going into Dimension Duel, they're going into Dark Zone, and they're getting smashed. And nobody likes to be smashed, especially when you're new, because you're like, well, they don't know anybody in game. There's no reason for them to stay around. So if they're immediately getting smashed, why stay? They're not going to stay, right? So put some bots. This is the part I don't know how hard it would be to code, but I think there's already some bots in there for when you first do Dimension Duel. So there's obviously some coding there. Take all those bots and just put them in the rest of the game where and put them at certain power levels so that unless somebody's winning 30 matches in a row or something, or they're not going to really creep up to fight the stronger people. It gives them ability. But the new players, they should have a 2-month window that unless they're higher than 2.5 or 2.7 or 3 million power, that they stay in a bracket that's like new person, like you shelter them, let them find people to play with that keep them around. Okay. So put those PvP bots in there. Like I mentioned, you could do it in a Mega War. Dimension Duel for sure already has some stuff in there. I don't see why you couldn't do it in a Mega War, but that one's a little, unknown. So next, world leaderboards. This was brought up, I think Annette brought this up. I brought it up a long time ago as well about like titles to people. Similar concept. You've already got the information there. Why don't you just have this in game somewhere, or, post it on the forums? There's one more reason for people to go to the forums. Send an in-game mail with a link, or, saying, hey, come to the forum. See who got first, worldwide in invasion. Well, whenever you bring invasions back, that's a whole nother story, which, I'd say is in here is always have an invasion going. But they can go to your website and they can see this and say, look, I'm number 322, or I'm number 1 or whatever in the world in this. Whatever it might be. Yes, are there different people on those servers? Yeah, but who cares? Like, this person got the most points in this thing. We all know that it's, different, it's a different league that somebody's playing in, but that doesn't mean, it sparks debate. Who cares? It gives more interest in the game. Then, RNG pity systems. There need to be more of them. Less RNG all around. I think this is something you can probably do fairly quickly. Each system has multiple levels of RNG. It's deflating. It's frustrating. Nobody likes it. You've done some decent stuff to sort of repair that. You did the specialization, I think, is probably along the right lines. Now, I will say that I think generally in specializations, you're too stingy with those mats, but I don't want to get too much into that in this video. I want to keep it simple. All right, now the part that Netmarble's probably most, I'll say excited about or most interested in, or at least as far as I'm concerned, is the money-making part of this. All right, what do you do to make more money in this? There is one that is so simple. Why didn't you sell that Zombie Strange cosmetic for money? Why? That should have been $5. You know what I mean? Just sell it for $5. Every cosmetic that's there's only one of them. You're not going to do different variations of it. It's some specialty costume like Zombie Strange. If She-Hulk's not in the game, but if maybe there's something from the Widow movie, the special white outfit, sell that for some money. I know you have some endgame stuff in there, so maybe those are $1. But and look at League of Legends. I'm sure some of you guys play it there. They've got costumes that are like $1 that are just like, meh, they're okay. And they've got these really cool costumes that can be like $5. And it's like, oh yeah, and everybody wants to buy those because they look cool. Now, granted, the animations and all the different things in League of Legends make it a little bit more fun, and they speak in that game, so you got to be careful with how much you charge there. But what about the Weapon X costume for Wolverine? I think that's an amazing one. You did use some of this stuff in game with like the leather outfit and just the hair up, but there could be other ones that you can throw in there. Maybe one for Storm. Star-Lord. I mean, any sort of like one costume that's like that costume by itself is insanely iconic. Sell it. Literally sell it. You design it once and you put it in game. I just think that would be something that would make a lot of sense. Do not make these too expensive. If you make these too expensive, people will not buy them. You have to have like cheap ones for like $1 or so. Have some like pretty solid ones for $5-ish. I don't know if I'd go up to 10. I don't know if people would pay for that. I'd have to really ask around and see if people would. I'd have to love a costume to pay $10 for it, and it'd have to be on a character that I really want to play. Otherwise, and you could literally come out with these like once a month. It's like, hey, this month is whoever, you know what I mean? Like Doctor Strange or Star-Lord or Captain America, whatever it might be. All right, so those are the ones that I think that can make you some quick money for that part. Now, I do think you should do an overall deal rehaul. That might be a little bit longer. I do have it in my quicker section, but you really got to find a way that everybody wants to buy offers in this game. That $1 offer is worthwhile to somebody, a $5 offer is worthwhile to somebody, a $25 offer, a $20, a $45, a $80, a $100. Every offer needs to be, you look at it and go, I'm a cheap spender, I can't pass up on that. I'm a semi-decent spender and I can't pass up on that. So, but I have a budget in my game. So I go, all right, $5. So I'll say I'm a decent spender. So I'm going to look at everything from $1 to probably $25-ish every offer. And I'm going to want to spend maybe $200 a month. So I want to be able to spend $200 a month on something that actually helps me make progress. Now, your cheaper spenders are maybe going to spend $10 to $50 a month, maybe at the most. So they want to feel good about spending $10 to $50 a month. And this is all US dollars. And then your Krakens or your whales, they're going to buy everything. They're literally going to spend the $100 offers, they're going to spend the $45 offers, they're going to spend the $27 offers, they're going to spend the $15 or the $1. They're going to buy it all. And that's fine. Let them buy it all. Yay money, right? So you got to have every set of those offers be worthwhile. This concept that just because it's expensive means someone's going to buy it and think it's good doesn't work. It doesn't work. Don't do it. It's not a thing. People analyze these offers and go, that's not a good deal. I'm not going to pay for it. There might be some people who just say, oh, it's expensive, I'm going to pay for it. But clearly, given the player retention and the amount of money being made on this game, that's not the case. So they say the definition of insanity is continuing to do the same thing over and over and expecting different results, right? So stop doing those same offers and thinking people are going to start buying them. They're not. I understand you try to do baselines, then you do offers and everybody buys. Okay, well, maybe you need to adjust that a little bit, right? Or have more Black Friday type offers so people spend a bunch of money, which they clearly did. All right, last, this is the longer term stuff. Netmarble, you power creeped way too fast. too early. Special costumes, nanos, all of those things should have been slow played way more. But it is what it is at this point. That basically made the gap between smaller players and bigger players way too big. And so those smaller players are quitting in droves because they cannot compete at all, even if they have better skill. So companions, special costumes, and maybe 6-star cores really should be the main differences in people's power, in my opinion. The main part of that is companions. The best way to fix this now is to start releasing some filler power creep for folks, meaning like car and geared fodder. So you need to catch everybody up to some of those endgame people who I've already given you ways to keep them engaged in the game by having some of these dials and these symbols above their head. So bring all these other people up, and so that people get closer. And again, I mentioned bots so that you can fill those gaps as well, right? So it maybe gives you some time to, make some new systems to sell to people. Or, you know what? Like I said, you always have companions, right? Those are they're always going to be something that Krakens are going to want. They're going to give their power. They're going to want a 5 and 6-star and nano it immediately, which, again, like, why are we already having nanos for companions? I was like, what? I'm like, I don't even have a 6-star special companion yet. This is crazy. So, so you've got some things there. The old special companions, like, why aren't those around more? Why aren't those easier to get? I don't understand it. They barely come around. I already mentioned whales and krakens will always want the companions to be bought pretty immediately to get those power levels, but we don't need to have a gap between 1 to 3 million power between everybody in the game. It just doesn't make sense. The game is obviously dying with it. And maybe you're fine with that, milking a kraken and a whale to the end, but at some point, I don't know if those people are going to keep playing. And additionally, like I've mentioned some other videos, Netmarble, you're making a reputation for taking big IPs and being done with them in a year or two. So, yeah, I don't know. I would adjust if I were you personally. And again, game modes that eventually need to be adjusted: squad battle, dark zone, raids and blitzes, which are basically the same as Alliance raid, as a boss box fight. I'm not going to go into that in this video, but those are things that need to be changed longer term and looked into. I really also don't want to touch quality of life too much right now. I will say just that Alliance raids take too long to coordinate. They are hard to get things together. I understand it's the nature of the game, but it's still frustrating to players. I don't know. You might want to consider a way to maybe not make those, I don't know, think about that somehow, where you don't need 7 of something, or, you could get more groups in there. I don't know. Again, for later. Switching gear and cards takes too long as well between all the characters. I've talked about having a central spot to do that. Annette mentioned something like that as well. But basically, you want a central storage where you can put all these things, all over the place. Like, why can't I just, grab my card here and move it here and move it here and move it here, and I can see all my character stuff, right? Anyway, you should be able to do that easy. All right, I'm talked enough for now. Netmarble, please listen. Joe Lee, please listen. I think there's plenty of foundation here for you guys to make a good game for it. And I think once you start making money and showing there, you're going to be willing to put more advertising dollars on it. And it's going to snowball into something that can be even better and better and better. So that's all I got. Appreciate you guys for watching it. Let me know in the comments below what you think of these ideas. Hammer down like buttons, notification bell, subscribe. Till next time, hope you have a wonderful day. Netmarble, here are some easy, quick fixes you could do to help the game immediately retain some players. Netmarble, I've also got some ways for you to make some money, easy money, off of Marvel Future Revolution right away and pretty immediately.